New champions crowned, an in-ring return, and the tribal chief issues a challenge to one of the company's top superstars. Of course, we're talking about Friday Night SmackDown live from Toronto, Canada, and it's all leading up to this weekend's Money in the Bank PLE. Let's dive right in. This is About Last Night on Rumble Rewind. Well, hey everybody, thanks for swinging by the Rumble Rewind channel. My name is Brandon, and before we get started in today's video, do me a quick favor, scroll down below, hit that like button for me because I know you're gonna love it. While you're down there, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for our first goal of 200 subscribers, and every like, every subscribe really helps us out, means a lot. Now, while you're down there, you can also go ahead and turn on your post notifications so you never miss an upload, and you can stay up to date on the best giveaway in the world. Once we hit that 200 subscribers, we're giving away some CM Punk merchandise, and we would love for you to be eligible. The only way to be eligible is to hit that subscribe button. All that said, let's dive right into tonight's top 3. First up, we got a promo with RK Cody talking up their 3-on-3 tag match against the Bloodline at Money in the Bank. Cody, of course, would talk about how he's sick of dealing with the Bloodline. Randy Orton would, again, talk about how he knows that this match is going to end with the most dangerous 3 letters in all of WWE, and that being RKO. Now, we would get several more of those teases from Randy Orton where he stared down the WWE Championship. As Cody was cutting his promo, you could see Randy Orton just looking longingly at this belt. Now, I know that we're continuing to see these teases, continuing to sow seeds that maybe eventually or even sooner than later, Randy is going to turn on Cody and this feud is going to kick off. And personally, I cannot wait to see this feud. It's going to be personal. It's going to be great. The in-ring matches are going to be awesome. But I just don't know where it fits into the overall story that WWE is telling right now. Cody's obviously mixed up with the Bloodline, and that's got a little bit more legs to it before we write that story off and it goes on its own direction. I have to say, though, WWE Creative is doing a great job of keeping the fans interested in this story and this eventual feud when it does happen. All that said, though, the star of this segment had to be Kevin Owens. Owens would get on the mic and cut a very real, very raw promo talking about his mother who's been in the hospital for the last week, and he says fighting for her life. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on there, but I do hope that she's able to pull through, wishing her a quick and speedy recovery, and just wishing the entire Steen family just peace and comfort during this time, honestly. But Kevin Owens talked about how if anybody was going to be mad that he would miss a show, it would be his mother. So I very much expect to see a very focused, very intense, very serious version of Kevin Owens at Money in the Bank. Owens would end this promo by promising the Bloodline a beatdown like they have never received before. Like I said, great intensity, great work from Kevin Owens. Really, really good promo, really solid segment from the face team. But tell me your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win this 3-on-3 tag match? Is it going to be RK Cody or the Bloodline? Now, based on the graphic we would see promoting the match, it does appear that it's going to be Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu in the match. However, it does appear they still haven't really made that official, so we'll just have to see what happens when we do make it to Money in the Bank. Let's move on to the number 2 segment of the night, and that one's got to go to the match of the night. That's DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa taking on A-Town Down Under for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Earlier in the night, we would see a backstage segment between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Theory said he's really been thinking about some of the things that Gargano has been saying, and he has some questions about whether or not Waller is really on his side, really has his back. Waller would talk him down by talking about their success together as a tag team and asking Austin Theory what gold has he ever won with Johnny Gargano, or what has Johnny Gargano ever helped him to do. He said that once Austin Theory started doing his own thing, it's then that he found success. He said that they were on the same page and they needed to focus on retaining their tag team championships. This seemed to satisfy Theory's questions and get him refocused on the match at hand. This match would be our main event. We would see some great back and forth action between the two teams. There were a lot of false finishes, a lot of near falls, and honestly several times that I thought A-Town Down Under was going to get the win and retain the titles, but it does end with both Theory and Waller tapping out simultaneously to the submission moves of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. DIY finally gets this win, finally gets some main roster gold, and they are your new WWE Tag Team champions. Now I have to see where the story goes from here. What's next for DIY and what's next for A-Town Down Under? Are these guys headed more and more towards a breakup? I gotta say that them losing this match and losing the tag team championships does imply to me that they are headed for a split. Now, I'm again not super in favor of this. I do think that SmackDown has a really solid tag team division with some really good teams that have history, that make sense, that aren't just smashed together, and it's working. But unfortunately, it seems like they're going to break this team up, and then they'll move in another tag team of the week to face off against DIY, and eventually they'll win the tag team championships, and we'll have to see where it goes. But I'm not super excited about the potential split up of A-Town Down Under. I think they work really well together, and I just don't see what either of them are going to do individually on the show. But I could be wrong. Creative's been doing a good job of kind of pushing some of these new people into the forefront, and perhaps they've got some ideas for Theory and Waller. Obviously, they can feud with each other for a little while, but where do they go from there? Tell me your thoughts. What do you think about these new tag team champions, and do you think A-Town Down Under is going to split up as a result of all of this? Would love to know. Leave comments below. Would love to interact with you down there. All right, before we get to our number one moment of the night, let's talk about some other notable things that happened on tonight's show. First of all, we did get Pretty Deadly's in-ring return, and they would take on the Street Profits. Now, the Profits would get this win, and what was a really solid match, really fun. And I do think that the Street Profits needed the win, as they've been kind of floundering for a bit. However, I also think that Pretty Deadly needed the win. They haven't been on WWE TV in quite some time. They haven't been in a match in a really, really long time, since feuding with the Brawling Brutes well over, I think, a year ago. And now for them to come back this way and lose this match like this, I do think it damages them even further, and we have to see where they go from here. Now, with DIY having won the Tag Team Championships tonight, are we going to see the Street Profits challenge for it? And I just don't know that that makes a ton of sense. You know, the two face teams that have both been sort of floundering, they both need some more wins, they both need some more momentum, and putting them in a match against each other doesn't make a ton of sense. On the other side, putting them in a feud against Pretty Deadly would be awesome. If done correctly, it could elevate both teams at the same time. It can make DIY look like legitimate challengers while making Pretty Deadly look like legitimate rivals, legitimate challengers. Pretty Deadly has won tag team championships in NXT and could be a great next challenger for DIY. However, they just don't look great right now. They don't look good. And there's some time to build it up, especially if there's a little bit more to the DIY A-Town Down Under story. But we'll have to see where it goes, what's Creative going to do with them. I do think that it was unfortunate for Pretty Deadly to return in a losing effort tonight, and I wish they had given him a win first. But again, looking at the tag team division, I don't know who they would have done that against. Anyway, speaking of tag teams, we also saw Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair take on Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Now, this match ended just like you would expect as soon as you heard it. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill pick up the win in a decent match, but with an obvious finish. Post-match, they cut a promo talking about how they're going to get their tag team championships back, but I think this whole thing was just to continue to show that both Jade and Bianca are these dominant personalities, and eventually they are going to struggle to coexist. So I can see them feuding a little bit more with the Unholy Union, but being unsuccessful in regaining those tag team championships, and that leading to their eventual breakup and feud, which we know is coming, and I'm looking forward to it. But this is allowing Jade to get a little bit more time in the ring with somebody like Bianca and continue to improve. Sticking with the women's division, we also saw a backstage segment with Chelsea Green talking to Bayley, said she's going to win the Money in the Bank, and then she is coming after Bayley. Now, as that promo ended, Piper Niven would attack Bayley and absolutely lay her out. This would lead to us getting a match between Bayley and Piper later in the night. Now, this was a good match, but it actually ended up being all about Money in the Bank. Naomi would accompany Bayley to the ring, and obviously Chelsea would accompany Piper Niven. Throughout the match, we would see the other 4 competitors in the Money in the Bank match at ringside watching on. At some point, a brawl broke out with all 6 women fighting back and forth. Eventually, Tiffany Stratton hit a moonsault on the other competitors, and Bayley picked up the win over Piper in what was just kind of a mess, to be honest with you. That's when things got a little bit crazy, a little bit weird. After the match, Nia Jax would come down to the ring and she would attack Bayley. This makes sense as the two of them are going to be facing off at SummerSlam for the Women's Championship. But that's not where it ended. Michin would come to the ring and attack Nia Jax with a kendo stick, and the segment would end with Michin standing tall in the middle of the ring. So basically here it looked like WWE wanted to get as many women's storylines represented in one moment as possible, but ultimately it just led to some confusion and didn't really focus on Money in the Bank like it should have. Now on the other side of that, the men's Money in the Bank was very different. The show would open with Jey Uso in the ring to cut a promo, but after that we would get the other 5 men in the match coming one after the other to begin talking about Money in the Bank. Now obviously this would result in the classic pre-Money in the Bank brawl. What was surprising is it didn't end in the classic pre-Money in the Bank 3-on-3 tag team match between all 6 competitors. Now it was a great opening segment with really good promos from everybody, and like I said, it ended exactly how you'd guess, with a brawl, but it ended with Jey Uso and LA Knight standing tall in the ring. Now typically, as it goes to the WWE and as it goes with pro wrestling in general, those 2 guys standing tall in the ring means neither one of them is walking away with that briefcase at Money in the Bank. But tell me your thoughts. Who do you think's walking out of Money in the Bank with that briefcase? All right, let's move on and talk about what I feel is the moment of the night, the segment of the night, and that is the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline delivered a pre-taped segment in which Solo talked about why he felt he needed to step in as Tribal Chief. He pulled out the Ula Fala and said that this made him Tribal Chief now. He said the reason he felt he had to step in is because Roman lost at WrestleMania. He said Roman wasn't man enough to do what needed to be done. He wasn't man enough to defend their championship against Cody Rhodes, and because of that, Solo Sikoa is the Tribal Chief now. He said that he is going after Cody. He is going to get the WWE Championship back for the Bloodline, and that if Roman wants it back, he will have to go through Solo. This is some good stuff from Solo. I really like that he's almost selling that he's definitely going to win the championship from Cody, and he doesn't even have a match yet. He's almost looking through Cody towards Roman, and I gotta say, I like the confidence. I like the way that he's selling that. I think that Solo is coming into his own really quickly, and he's doing a great job with what he's been given. This Bloodline story really picked up last week when they attacked Paul Heyman. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check out this video right here. I'll tell you all about it. It was an incredible segment with Solo really stepping up and showing that he can carry this story. His promo work is getting better. He's selling the intensity that he used to sell on NXT really well. So personally, I'm looking forward to where this Bloodline story goes from here, especially what happens when Roman Reigns comes back and begins the Bloodline Civil War. But tell me your thoughts on all of it. Tell me your thoughts on Solo. And when do you think Roman's coming back? What does that mean for this story? Overall, I gotta say this show was just okay. There wasn't anything on it that I would describe as must-see or super exciting. There's nothing there that I would say go out of your way to watch it if you hadn't already seen it. It was your basic go-home show, especially one for the night before PLE, where the goal is just to kind of fill the time and move the stories just over the finish line as the PLE comes into focus. And so that's what we got. So for that reason, I've got to give this one about a 7 out of 10. It was worth watching if you were there, but nothing that I would say go out of your way to catch up on before Money in the Bank happens tonight. So let's move on. Let's talk about brand wars. Which brand won the week? Which brand gave us the best show out of Raw, SmackDown, or NXT? And this week, I've got to give it once again to Monday Night Raw. There was just so many really good things that continued to move forward on Raw this week. We got more great stuff from Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, Judgment Day story. We got more stuff about the Wyatt Six, a really solid interview with Bo Dallas talking about why he's doing what he's doing and really unpacking the Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy characters. We got more from CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. That story continued. And Raw just has the most interesting stories right now. And I believe that's going to continue at least through SummerSlam, because a lot of these are more longer term things that are still going on. So if you want to catch up on those stories and catch up on Monday Night Raw in general, click on this video right here and I'll tell you all about it. But where we're at right now, it just seems that Monday Night Raw has the best and most interesting stories going on. And I think that this will continue at least through SummerSlam, because these stories aren't even close to over yet. The Wyatt Six is really just getting started. Liv and Dom and Judgment Day, they're waiting for Rhea Ripley to come back before that jumps into the next chapter. And then CM Punk and Drew McIntyre haven't even gotten in the ring together yet. And so I really think it's going to be difficult for SmackDown or NXT to pick up enough momentum to overtake Monday Night Raw anytime in the next couple of weeks. But who knows, maybe there's some stories that we're not quite aware of waiting in the wings to really move to the forefront and give momentum to those brands. But tell me your thoughts. Did I get this one right? And if not, which brand do you believe won the week? Well, that is it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me for a bit on Rumble Rewind. Before you go, don't forget, scroll down below this video, hit that like button for me. And while you're there, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you can be eligible for the best giveaway in the world. Turn on those post notifications so you can stay up to date on all the latest info and never miss an upload from Rumble Rewind. Don't forget, while you're down there, leave a comment. Tell me who you think's walking out of Money in the Bank with those briefcases. Is it Tiffany Stratton and Jey Uso? Of course it is, but tell me why and tell me if you agree. Finally, don't forget, this weekend we've got an incredible weekend of wrestling. We've got Money in the Bank and we've got NXT Heatwave. And if you want my predictions and previews for either of those events, you can check out these videos here. Hope to see you over there and in the comments. Thanks once again for hanging out with me today on Rumble Rewind. We'll see you on the next one.